Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first broadcast slash interview. My name is Lula, and I am the founder of African Woman Journey. I created this platform, officially launched it about a month ago on Instagram, and I'm currently working on creating a website. So I'm working on several other projects, but currently you will find us on Instagram. You'll see it scrolling down the banner. It says African Woman Journey. You can also find us on Twitter as well. And I created this platform to celebrate women entrepreneurs, African women entrepreneurs, and role models. I was born in Eritrea, that's in East Africa, and then grew up in Ethiopia until I was about the age of 13, and then moved to the United States when I was 13 years old. So I'll share my story down the line, but I'm super excited today because I have a special guest, Maya King, who will be talking about her journey to move to Africa. I found my own Instagram, just like everyone I have been featuring on the African Woman Journey page, and I thought her story was pretty interesting because, as someone who was born in Africa, again, I'll share my journey down the line. But we moved to the United States for a particular reason, and a lot of people, even back home, my family, they want to move to the U.S. or Europe or other places. So when I saw that she was in the process of taking this journey to move to Ghana, I was like, I need to talk to her because I want to know what the decision, how did we come to this conclusion of I want to move, and how do you even explain it to your family? So we're gonna ask her all those interesting questions. But again, welcome to our first interview. I'm super grateful and humble that Maya was able to respond to me to my Instagram messaging, and she's here. So I'm gonna bring her on, and we'll go from there. Hi,
Hi,
Maya.
how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me. And I know you're traveling right now, so which is again, I appreciate you even more for taking time out of your road trip to have this conversation with me.
Yeah, it's definitely a pleasure and an honor. It's definitely a pleasure to talk about my dreams and that anybody's even interested in hearing it. So,
Okay, a lot of people are interested. I have a couple of friends who have spoken about moving to Africa, and I always tell them, someone who's from Africa, born and raised,
mhm,
always visit places and just kind of learn more about it before you make your decision.
mhm.
So when I saw your story, I was like, let me just talk to her. Maybe she can help other people kind of navigate the ins and outs of how does one even go about deciding to move to Africa, in your case, which is Ghana. But before we even get into that, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, where are you located right now, residing? And I saw on your Instagram page that you do travel a lot. So, how did you even go about picking Ghana?
Yeah. So, I was living in Miami
Okay.
up until maybe a month ago. Now I'm actually back in Orlando with my parents because different things that have taken a light in my life. Um, I'm ready to, as you know, move to Ghana. So I'm just with my parents for now until I start moving around the world a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
Lord willing.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, as you know, also I'm a new entrepreneur, newly
Yeah.
launched entrepreneur. I started my Etsy store called Love and Waste Beads. This idea came to me last year because this was supposed to be my year to travel around the
Oh,
country a little bit,
uh-huh.
around the world, excuse me, around the world. And I have a friend who was, going to be my travel partner, and we talked about some of the things that we love to travel and do is definitely collect cool jewelry around the world
Mm-hmm.
and different random things that her house is full of things that she's found around the world. I have a smaller collection because I haven't been as many places as her, but I'm collecting as well. So I had this idea of starting a store last year. Went to Ghana this past December and said, I'm definitely doing it. Let me, bring home an extra suitcase full of cool things. And then, decided to go ahead and launch this past May. And we've been doing really good. So I'm proud of myself and definitely want to see this develop even further as I move to Ghana. So, where have I been? I have been to 9 countries,
Awesome.
including Canada, total, and 3 of which are in Africa. Um, I love to travel because you get to see that there's so much more to the world than, your four corners or your bubble that you're used to. So yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, so I'm a traveler myself as well, and I do encourage people to just get out and see other cultures, other people. It does give you a different perspective. You mentioned that you've been to other African countries as well. Which other ones did you go to besides Ghana?
I've been to Egypt and Morocco so far. I'm hoping to go to Tanzania here within the month.
Oh, you would love it.
I'm so excited of that. Like it's been on my vision board for 3 or 4 years now that I think about it. But ever since I was like, that's where I'm going to go until I can go to Ghana. It keeps coming up on my Instagram. I know Instagram is listening to me. But, like I've already decided everything I want to do, and I follow this lady on YouTube. It's called Traveling Sister.
Yeah.
She lives in Tanzania. She's always telling everybody to come out there. I'm like, I'm coming.
It's beautiful. My husband and I did our honeymoon in Tanzania. We went to yeah. When I tell you he blended right in, he was just like, I think my husband is African American, and literally he looks just like them. They start speaking Swahili to him, and he was like, unfortunately, I'm American. And I was like, wow, what a disappointment.
Yeah, I'm American. That's hilarious.
That's incredible. Okay, so tell me your first trip to Ghana, because you went to Ghana twice.
Yes, I've been twice now.
So tell me your first time going to Ghana and you land, like just your thought.
Yeah. So I went to Ghana for the first time in December of 2017. My best friend that I met while I was living in New York is Ghanaian and grew up in London. So I fell in love with her first because of her British accent. It's my favorite accent in the world. And she's so cool. She's everything. She fits in anywhere all the time. And then on top of that, she has this really infectious laugh, and then she's got her British accent. So anything she says is funny or cool, way cooler than I could say it, right? And then she's just generally a super lovely girl, and everyone that knows her loves her. Is either you know her because you know her name, or you love her. Those are the two things, So she is Ghanaian, and she always invited me, hey, you have to come to Ghana one December for Christmas. That's the time that everybody comes back. It's a lot of fun. We love all the British accents everywhere, blah, blah, blah. So she had invited me for a good year and a half, and then, it finally decided to, we're going to go this year, December 2017. Like, okay. So I'm going to go to Ghana. Just thinking like, okay, whatever, every trip you ever plan, you're like, all right, we'll see. But she was serious about it, pushing us to book our tickets, reminding us of what me and one other friend. I think there was 2 other friends that she invited at the same time to make a moment out of it. I think only one of us, 2 of us ended up going. Went to Ghana, totally unprepared, I think, outside of having vaccination, having visa, knowing exactly where I was going to stay. I was staying with her and her family. I wasn't really prepared. Like, I hadn't done much research. I wasn't watching YouTube videos of what it was like to be in Ghana. So, I actually had a layover in Egypt, which is a little bit of a harrowing trip when you're by yourself. You want to see everything you can in a day or 2. Made it to Ghana. As soon as I landed, I was like, first of all, kind of blown away by how friendly everybody was in the airport. People kind of saw me walking around with like a deer headlights. And,
There's this really background noise. Is it
I was just thinking that. What is that sound?
It's slowed down now. That's good. Because it was like drowning your voice a little bit, but I can hear it better now.
I really don't know what it is. I'm sitting here alone. So got out of the airport, and I immediately thought I was in Jamaica. I thought I had landed in Kingston. It's that similar. You see the mountains in the background, you see the red clay. The airport is kind of even shaped the same, like how you pull up, you can drop people off, and then there's a little parking outside. The smell of burning leaves and sticks smells like Jamaica, and then of course people look Jamaican too. My dad is Jamaican. I'm very proud to claim my Jamaican side. So I just, as soon as I got to Ghana, I felt like I was at home.
Wow.
Another interesting thing is my birthday is on Christmas. So my friend Maureen, we went for Christmas, right? So we were there like the 23rd was when we landed.
Uh-huh.
She had made different plans for us. Again, it was so relaxed because she was really in the driver's seat. We were just following her around Texas. You know, her family's there. You know, she's been gone 1,000 times, whatever. We had a cool, like, little surprise birthday singing for me, which I never get to celebrate my birthday because it's on Christmas. You know, people are always busy. But I had this wonderful welcoming experience. We went to someone else's house. It was supposed to be a housewarming party. It looks like you're actually at a wedding. They're very much, you know, community party people. And I just kind of looked around me. I was like, wow, I only know 2 or 3 people here, but everyone here is treating me the same as far as like, it's your birthday, you know, come and celebrate, dance. Do you have something to drink? Are you eating, you know? And honestly, that was like the pattern for the whole trip. Anywhere we went, anyone that I interacted with, everyone was so welcoming. Outside of one, you know, being able to tell probably from a mile away that I'm American, that's all. You know, they didn't care like what my background was or, you know, what's my calling card, you know. You know, they just, you know, were just very loving, very cool people. And it's, you know, I got to go to Elmira Castle that trip, and that was impactful, you know, to be able to come back similar to how, you know, probably my ancestors left. You know, we're so blessed to have some of us that have survived and made the way for us. I think Africa went through, you know, there's a lot of, you know, did Africans sell, you know, Black people and, you know, make them slaves or not? I think it's a lot more complex than we're really going to know. And we always have to remember that the victor is the one that writes history, not the one who lost. But I think, you know, it's really important that we go back. But I'm getting off topic. To answer your question, yes, I've been to Ghana. The first time was December 2017, and it was a dream. It was amazing. It's amazing.
That's incredible. So I'll keep muting myself because for some reason we're back to good recording now. But that's incredible. That is, I can't speak to all African countries, but like food and being hospitable and welcoming, that seems like the common theme in a lot of African countries. Because especially when you are, as a Black person, as a African American, it's welcoming. Not all the time, but certain countries there is definitely welcoming. I thought it was really interesting. I think it was 2019 when it was the year of return when that was announced, and it was a huge campaign and huge just welcome energy. If people are not familiar with this, which is President Nana, I can't say the full name. But he announced the Year of Return campaign where he encouraged a lot of African American people to come back to Ghana, and even I think granted visa, I believe, for over 150 people, if I'm not mistaken. Citizenship. There you go, not visa. Yeah, citizenship. Thank you for that. And I think it was like revenue-wise, they made over $1 billion. Compared to what African Americans spend over the years, which is I looked it up, and it says Black Americans spent nearly $63 billion in tourism in 2018. So, which tells you that where you spend your money, you know, can either help the countries that you visit to or hinder it. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But 2019, over more than $1 billion in revenue was poured into the economy from the visit that happened from the Year of Return. I thought it was incredible. I saw some videos that was just heartwarming and just made me so happy just to see. And you said last year is when you went, correct?
Yeah, so we went back this past December because that same friend got married.
Oh, awesome.
To someone that I made her give a chance to while we went to Ghana in 2017. 2 years later, they're going back for their weddings. And this trip was even more special because, yes, it was Year of the Return, but because I was a bridesmaid in her wedding, she did both the traditional and the white wedding. You know, really the trip was about being around their families and, you know, being in that energy of it's a wedding, it's a celebration. That was really beautiful to see. And I'll say, like, when I was there, you know, because I did go to Afro Nation, you know, the little things that I did do outside of wedding stuff, see the family, there was Black people from everywhere in Ghana. It wasn't only Black Americans. I do want to be clear. There's definitely a lot of Londoners. I met so many Nigerians, people from South Africa there. Not only Americans, Jamaicans as well were there. Like, it's from everywhere. It was just a place to be, and it had a special energy this past December. The city was humming. Like New York hums a little bit. That was Accra.
That's incredible. I've never been to Ghana. It's on my bucket list. I definitely going to make it. I usually, once I visit one African country, I try to bounce around a couple of times because it's cheaper to fly that way versus from the U.S. there. But I'm so happy to hear your experience while you were there, because there's a lot of misconceptions about people who never either visited Africa. It's usually people who never visited Africa. When you talk about Africa in general, it's generalized as just this one like poor famine taking over, no technology, no development, and I'm like, it's like the complete opposite. I'm not sure, that exists. However, it's like it's developed in ways that I think a lot of people are always surprised when they go visit or when they learn more about it. Were there any misconceptions that you had prior to like going to Ghana and you were just blown away once you got there?
Yeah, so, completely honestly, growing up in school, we don't really learn much about Africa. What you see on TV, other than like Coming to America, you usually see the commercials of children with distended bellies and no access to water. So I know that that's not all of Africa, but I know that it is a real part of Africa. And, when you go to other countries, like I've been to Haiti, I've been to the Bahamas, I've been to Jamaica, and there's development, there's people who are doing well, but then there's also a lot of poverty, sometimes either equal amounts or more than people who are kind of well to do. So I didn't really know what to expect when I got there. I didn't know how modern it would be. I expected it to be on par with maybe Jamaica. No, they've surpassed Jamaica, I think, Accra specifically. I was blown away with how it was really a blend of being in Miami and being in Jamaica at the same time. Like there's beautiful brand new high rises with all the modern, conveniences and upgrades. And by the way, I do property management as well. So I manage luxury condos in Miami. So I always look out for these type of things. So, great parking systems, beautiful clean roads. I hear people talking about this, that across kind of like the Americas in maybe like the 50s or 60s. So if you think about how much development there's been in America since, those decades, that's how much opportunity there is in Africa right now. So, you don't have free Wi-Fi every single place that you go. And when you do go a place to use their Wi-Fi, you have to pay or request the code, stuff like that. It's like original days of Wi-Fi being in Starbucks. But, there is Wi-Fi everywhere. Any place you sit down to eat, get a coffee, get your nails done, you can use Wi-Fi just like you can here. Everybody's going around with smartphones. The nightlife is the same as going out in Jamaica, going out in Miami. You have to travel out to see more traditional living, villages and stuff like that. You have to travel quite a ways away from Accra. So I haven't seen much of the rest of Ghana. I know I've only seen a small part, and that's really just what's around Accra. I hope this time around when I go to spend a lot more time outside of Accra to see a little bit more, because I know that there's a lot of underdevelopment out there.
Absolutely. And the times that we're living in right now, it's just been chaotic in so many different ways, from COVID to the civil unrest that's happening. This isn't new. COVID is new, but everything else that we have been experiencing, it's been very, for me, overwhelming, and just has really brought up some questions about, do I really want to continue to live in the United States, or do I want to move back home where I'm surrounded by people that look like me? Because that's how I grew up. Mm-hmm. And I'll share this later down the line, but my experience in being more aware of my skin color didn't happen until I was 21 when I went to college. Versus my husband's experience as a Black man, a Black boy, was like at 8 years old or 7, which is like mind-blowing to me, because that robs you of your childhood. Like, where you go, you have to be aware of your skin color, which is so unfair. But that's a life that is currently occurring, and hopefully one day that the next generation doesn't have to experience that. I'm just curious to know the experience as a Black woman in Africa, and more recently, what you have been witnessing here, what's happening in the United States. Have you thought more and more, or got excited more about just moving to Ghana, like just to kind of not escape, but not to think in the way I think you think when you live in the United States?
So I'm 35. When I went to Ghana the first time around, I started to pay attention a little bit more. I was blessed to hang out with my friend's family. So I watched the family unit and I thought, I'm okay now with not having yet met Mr. Right and haven't had to start a family. I'm still not a mom. And I knew when I was there in 2017 that I was going to move back because this is where I wanted to raise children. These are the values that I wanted to have foundational for my family. So, fast forward 2 years later, I go again. I when I was there in 2017, I'm like, I'm going to move in like 2 years. I'll move because I needed the time. 2 years came and went, obviously. And then, when I went to Ghana this past time, leaving Ghana, I go to my connecting airport, this time in Morocco. And I kind of had a little bit of a panic attack and I'm like, no. I have to go back to Ghana. Cannot explain it to this day. I'm sure I'll figure it out at some point in time, what really happened that day. But, I got on another flight, went back to Ghana for another week and, took some time for reflection. I felt strongly that I have to move to Ghana and soon, don't put it off for 2 more years, like make a serious plan. Came back to the States, worked on my savings plan using Digit because you can easily save money using an app that analyzes your spending for you. And then this year just kind of went crazy. Fires, race wars, riots, protesting, a disease that makes no sense. It's constantly evolving, like faster than we can really study it. It's evolving. I grew up in Central Florida, in the counties that have Indian names, like Oskaloosa, Pascagoula, Ocala. So seeing racism is something that I'm just used to. Like, I know, seeing Confederate flag a lot. That way you're watched when you walk into a convenience store, being taught to be quiet, to be seen and not heard. Don't ever touch anything when you go in a store. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. All that stuff was, a staple of my childhood. I can't say that, George Floyd's death is the reason why racists are coming out. Racism has always been around. It's just being recorded. But it's kind of like that final straw on the camel's back that for sure, this is not where I want to be. I don't want to be, like I'm doing a little road trip right now to go out to Las Vegas to be with my brother for a little bit. And I'm afraid every time a car pulls up too close behind me, I don't know if it's a police and I don't know if it's going to be a nice police or not, because of what we're seeing on the news. I would say that this current climate is just confirming what I already was afraid of and making me feel even better about my decision to go ahead and move to Africa.
It's definitely scary times that we're living in. It's nothing new, like you mentioned and I said earlier, because we have seen and heard it, and especially if you're a Black person living in this country, either whether you, family member, or friends, you have seen someone or know someone who experienced it. What makes it different a little bit more this time around is I think the amount of it being recorded. I don't think I have ever been exposed to this amount of discrimination and racism, blunt racism at that, and ignorance just happening just on a rapid pace. And obviously it happens, but I don't think I have ever been exposed to it in a way that I have been the past couple of years, and more recently this couple of months. And it's been overwhelming. So I definitely can understand your feelings of like just confirming or affirming your thought process of your journey. So you mentioned earlier about your plan. Please, tell us, how does one plan to move to a whole different continent?
I'm going to tell you my working draft. How about that?
Okay.
Full disclosure, I'm still figuring it out.
Okay.
And it doesn't help that, you know, when COVID started, like February, March, like everybody knew that by June, Ghana would reopen. June has come and gone, and we still don't know when Ghana is going to reopen. I have friends that are telling me that it's going to be August. Some of them say September, October. Some of them saying December. So I don't really know. But, you know, I have a friend who recently was featured on a podcast. His name is Jaflo. He, you know, it's with the Athlete EQ. I think, if I didn't butcher it, but he gave some really good advice in the end. He was talking to rising, you know, potential athletes, and he said, you have to know your why. And the importance of that is, if you know your why, it really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about it. And also to consider the source of criticism. So, you know, anybody who's not been to Ghana or not been to Africa at all, like if they have negative things to say about my move, I'm like, whatever, you don't know, you know, but I know what my why is. So I have been over the past 2.5 years watching a lot of YouTube videos, following quite a few people who've moved from America to Ghana. I want to say this year I've been focusing on people who are American who don't have Ghanaian roots that they know of, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't have a grandma back there that they can go and live with or something like that. And I reach out to them on Instagram and ask them, how did you do it? And everybody's story is different. I thought a long time that I needed like $40,000 to go and all this, but now it's really just knowing that you're going to be able to commit to it and making the leap. So this is my plan so far. I'm going to move for 3 months. I'm on a 5-year multiple entry visa. So I'm going to move for 3 months. And in that 3 months, I'm going to spend my time. So I'm legal, right? Because I have a visa, I already have my immunizations that are required, my paperwork done. I've built a network there well enough that there's people who can help me do what I need to do to expand my business and look into registering my business in Ghana, find housing, and, you know, help translate, help me not kind of get lost in the sauce. So when I go there for those 3 months, I will work hard to learn to speak the basic tongue, which is Twi, meet as many people as I can and network, because I've already moved 1 or 2 times in my life to different, let's say, environments. And I know that for me to stay, I need to feel connected. So I can't be a hermit. I have to go out. I have to you know, into the community. I have to plug in somehow. So I'm going to go for 3 months. I'm going to do my best to assimilate and really see if I can let go of the modern conveniences that have been a very real part of my life living in the United States. And do, you know, can I really develop a business that I can start it, but develop it significantly, you know, every 3 years, every 2 years, something like that, so that this is something consistent that I can do. Is there really a market for what I really want to do? And then when those 3 months, you know, also get all the information I need on business registration, registering then for residency, and figuring that out. So I have saved up a significant amount of money. It's not that much, but it's enough for me to be over there, certainly for 3 months. And if I need to come back for a year, I'll still be okay. Yeah, the 3 months is really the planning for living there forever. Right now, my plan is to go and do my best research possible. And figure out while I'm over there, how can I do this permanently?
I like how you have in like, it's almost like in phases that you're doing the first phase of 3 months. I mean, the first phase is gone there two times and experienced it 2 different ways. And I think that is brilliant by you going in for 3 months, by being on the ground and just kind of already having a network. That's huge. That's huge. So congratulations on that. Because that makes life a little bit easier to navigate versus just showing up in a country. You're just like, I'm here. Let me figure it out. So that's brilliant. But I love that 3 months. I think that's an attainable goal, to go there and kind of like do your research and see what exists, and if there's an opportunity for you to build a business or a brand that you can grow. That's incredible. And what I love about your story is I think a lot of people, some of the people that I spoke with about moving to Africa, they talked about, being just like a done deal. Like, I'm moving, I'm never coming back to the States. I'm like, that's great. But it's also like other options, like what you're doing right now, which is sometimes you can go visit, you might have a different experience. You go back for a little bit longer because usually if you go for 2 weeks, a week, that's a whole different experience versus a month, 2 months. You get to meet people, the community, the culture. You get to see it from a different view, which is not the tourist view, but like someone who actually lives there. So that's incredible. So I know earlier you talked about knowing your why, but I'm sure you had to explain to your family. So tell me that conversation.
So as the oldest child, I've probably always been the one to kind of do everything my way. Like I haven't done anything in my life the way that the majority probably would. It's not me. So it's not really surprised. My brother and sister probably are not really that surprised. They're like, okay, could tell this was coming. They watched me become woke over the past like 3 or 4 years. And then, they know how much I fell in love with Ghana when I was there. And, so they could see this coming in a way. My dad moved to the United States from Jamaica as an adult, right? So he doesn't really have a super negative outlook when it comes to moving to Ghana. I'm sure that at his age, being the oldest child, him hoping to have grandkids at some point, I'm sure he's not excited for me to move, so far away. But at the same time, he's kind of like, well, you're young, you don't have any children, you have no reason stopping you, so at least try it, but be smart about it.
Right.
My mom is deathly her hairstylist is Ghanaian, and that lady has told her that, oh, if you go to Ghana, people are going to rob you. Like, you want to start a business, people are going to take your money from you. You can't trust anybody, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, that's everywhere. If you don't use common sense and, enter into a business strictly as professional as possibly you can, it's a risk, everything is. Also, my mom hasn't been to Africa, so she's afraid that, it's as dangerous as that I could just get in a taxi and that person could kidnap me and sell my body parts on the black market. So, this is just, it is. Whenever your goal is this important to probably the destiny of your life, you're going to meet that big hairy thing that's like, no, don't do it. Do the easy, safe, calm thing. This is easier to do. So it's not enough to scare me, but it does help me in a way really focus on effective planning, because if I could sell it to my mom, I probably could do it, So I don't think, as well, my sister's my best friend. I don't think she wants me to move to another country either, but they're kind of like, yeah, we saw this coming, thankfully. So we'll see.
And it's, you have to do it, especially if it's something that's like, not saying that you have to go, but like, when you have like a goal that's just so important to you, like you said, at least you have to experience it to know if this is 100% for you, or maybe just it was something of an idea that just doesn't work. So I think trying it out and then seeing where you go from there and learning from that 3 months is going to be a huge awakening for you, and also how you're able to communicate what the next phase will be, more importantly for yourself, but also for the comfort of your family as well. So that's incredible. Seriously, I'm so excited for you. And earlier you mentioned your Etsy page. I'm not really familiar with Etsy, but like you're currently doing selling jewelry from all your trips that you have done so far. That's how you're kind of funding your dream for Ghana. Just tell us a little bit more about, if I'm correct, just tell us a little bit more about, first of all, congratulations, because you just launched it.
Thank you.
It's been doing amazing, like you mentioned earlier. Just tell us a little bit more about your brand and this new baby of yours.
Sure. So my store is something super cool for me. Mm-hmm. When I shopped for things in Ghana, I didn't just look at what was necessarily pretty or my aesthetic. I would ask questions like, why do you wear waist beads? What's the purpose of waist beads? What's the cultural significance of waist beads? Mm-hmm. What's the cultural significance of these beads? Or where do they make these fans? And, obviously the more I would learn about these different goods, the more interesting Ghana became to me. So The first trip I went, I came back with all these cool things that I found, and everyone around me, like I'll wear, beaded sandals to the fresh market. Everybody keeps saying, "Where did you get them? I want them." Recently I was walking down the street in Miami. I was walking my dog, and this woman came running after me. And she's like, "Where did you get those shorts?" I'm like, "Oh, well, these I made because I had bought a dress in Ghana that never really fit me right, so I made them into shorts." She's like, "I want those shorts." So I was so surprised that, that after that first trip, that so many other people here thought, African stuff was this cool, So when I decided to start the store, people like my style, my taste. So I'm pretty sure I could find things that people would want to get, but I would stick to getting only like 2 or 3 things, like 2 or 3 types of whatever the item was. So on the store, you can find traditional Ahanima slippers, which are the slippers that culturally chiefs and queen mothers would wear in the Ashanti region. You can find Ghanaian cultural beads. You can find definitely waist beads, earrings, fans. I love the Bolga style fans. Hand woven straw fans. I've had beautiful straw bags. Those are gone. Brass jewelry, which I think brass jewelry is super cool. I would find the fun, most unique pieces. It would be a lion's head or a woman's body or a stool. And those are all gone now, but they were on the store. And things like amber necklaces, which amber is indigenous of West Africa. And stuff like that. So just a lot of random cool things that I found. Soon to be head wraps. Soon to be, I have a friend there in Ghana who makes her own handbags. They're beautiful. So, I'll help support her. But what I plan to do when I go to Ghana, like I said, this next time around, I plan to folks out and see other things, go to tribes where they make things, learn about the cultural significance of the goods that they make. And if folks back home wanted to buy them, I'll sell them. So yeah, love and waist beads is kind of the souvenirs from my journeys. And if you like something that I have, you can purchase it through the store.
So that's amazing. I have put your Instagram handles down, scrolling down. So if you are watching this, I'll also make sure I tag and add the Instagram page so you can see what Maya is talking about, because it's really incredible. It's very their page is very just engaging and just I love print. So I was just scrolling up and down your page. I was like, oh, this is beautiful, and the photos and the plants. So I was just it's just amazing. Yeah, so I'll definitely make sure I link your your link for Etsy as well during this interview, so people can go and check it out. And I'll put it in our link on African Women Journey page. So just click on it and it'll take you there.
Okay.
So, what advice would you give to someone who is maybe thinking about making the move to whether it's Africa or somewhere else? Just some of the process that you shared with me earlier that you went through of, am I doing this right? Am I making the right decision? This is definitely the right decision. Now I have to really be serious about my savings and just mentally and spiritually getting myself together to make this huge journey. So what advice would you give to others who are in similar position?
Well, I would say continuing with the know your why.
Mm-hmm.
And, once you know why you want to move somewhere else, I would say then do very careful research. You can't do too much research. Don't get lost from the why. Don't try to unconvince yourself, but try to validate what you're looking to do. For me, I had to incorporate more of a spiritual side of all this. And, I pray on a daily basis and make sure that this is the right thing for me to do, and have faith that the doors will open for me if this is what I'm supposed to be doing. If this is the right thing for me, if this is the right thing for my future partner, if this is the right thing for my future children, if this is the right thing for my family. So if the doors don't open, that's how I can feel confident. And then go ahead. We're blessed to live in a world where we're connected by social media and the internet. So start building your network wherever it is that you're interested in going. That has made it a lot easier for me. Talking to people on WhatsApp, through Instagram, through Facebook. There's a lot of I'm in a group chat called Dreams to Ghana. And there's a lot of people in the UK, US, and Ghana, and we talk every day about our dreams to move to Ghana. You know, starting a susu, looking in group investments, you know, business collaboration happens in that group chat. So you can ask simple questions of, did you hear that earthquake last night? Or what's the weather like right now? Or does anybody have a contact at the passport office? There's also a group on Facebook that's, I think, called Coming to Africa that I'm part of as well, to build my network, because I know I can go with all the hope and optimism that this is going to go and work out, but having people there who've been through the process or people who've been through the process to give me real feedback and real information helps me, again, be confident in every single step of my plan. So definitely make sure you know your why. Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, and build a network wherever you want to go before you get there. It's going to make getting there a little bit more welcoming.
That's incredible. Just a question. I'm thinking of someone who might be in the same position. How did you find like the WhatsApp page and the Facebook page? I mean, you can Google but how do you even connect with people like-minded? Because that's key. That's really is key. The more people you're connected to, the more resources that you find, and your questions, certain questions you just can't Google. You really can't. And it's perfect to know someone who has experienced it or gone through it, who can give you the blueprint. So how did you even find this group of people for you all to come together and create like this WhatsApp page?
Yeah. So there's a saying, it says birds of a feather flock together, right? Part of me deciding to move to Ghana was me deciding to be myself, however I am, and being okay with being myself, and a lot less concerned about being perfect, or needing a perfect situation. So when I decided I wanted to move to Ghana, that started to seep into everything, and really my social media. I constantly posting stories about Ghana or reposting things about Ghana in the news. You know, I love to wear my African print stuff that I bought, and it turns out that I made a friend on Instagram who was the administrator of this group chat. And he's like, you know, it's always great to see someone else who's as excited as I am to move to Ghana. But the cool thing is you've been there more than me. Can I invite you to this group chat? You know, how can we, help each other? So I got in the group chat when it's like 40 something members. Now it's like way more than that. And it's kind of cool to constantly see the new people who come to the group chat who are in all over the United States or UK. And for whatever reason, they've made the decision that Ghana is their home now. If they're going to move at retirement age, or if they're looking only to invest for now, or if they're as serious as I am as moving as soon as the opportunity presents itself, we've got all levels. So that's how I got into the group chat. But it's mostly because when you start putting things on YouTube, looking it up, that kind of influences your search results. And honestly, it works in your favor. It's not only giving the government data, it works in your favor too, because it starts connecting you with other groups and communities that are like-minded, and also being open. That's the other thing that I was going to say about if you're planning to move to another country, be open. Don't go with the expectations of having the same life that you already have. Like, I'm going to go and live my, Midtown Manhattan life or my downtown Miami life. No, I'm not. I'm going to live a Ghanaian life. So what is a Ghanaian life?
Right.
That's what I want to say on that. So if anybody's interested in joining the group chat, you can reach out to me through Instagram, and I'll definitely connect you and get you added to the chat. We're excited to make the family bigger. That's
incredible. That was such a great source of information you just shared with me. And I do agree. I think your expectations are they just have to be different, and you have to understand where you are, what the culture is, and the environment that you're choosing to move to, and what that looks like. I 100% agree with that. Throughout all my travels, that's something I always try to keep in mind, and be respectful of other people's culture, because it's their culture. You're just showing up to, their country. So I do agree with that. Maya, this conversation has been so insightful for me. I'm genuinely grateful for you for responding, because this is our first time meeting. We never met. This is our first meeting. So she could have just been like, nope, don't want to talk to you. But She quickly responded to my Instagram message, and long story short, here we are. And I was just so intrigued by just a little bit that I knew about you via Instagram, and to learn more about your journey to Ghana and just the process that you are taking. I'm inspired, and I'm definitely going to be visiting your Etsy page because I do need waist beads. So I'll be supporting you that way, and I encourage everyone to do the same. Please keep us posted with this journey and where you are. I would love to kind of circle back and feature you on the page again, just to kind of learn where you, whatever decision that you made, that we want to celebrate you.
Sure.
And seriously, thank you for taking time out of your road trip to have this conversation with me, and to get to Vegas safely. And good luck with everything.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be on your channel. I wish you the best. I love what you're doing. We women definitely need to feel empowered. A lot of us need to hear that someone else is doing what we want to do or might someday. So please keep that crucial messaging going. It's really important. And thank you for letting me be here. It's nice to meet you too.
Of course. And just to let everyone know, my goal is each week to interview an incredible person just like Maya. We're going to have so many different conversations about branding, marketing, moving to Africa, and someone who actually moved to Africa and started a business. I know someone, I'm trying to coordinate an interview with them as well. So I'm trying to create like a page where it exposes a lot of different conversations that can benefit folks in whatever you are in your stage of entrepreneurship or journey in life. So keep watching, tell your friends to watch. And again, thank you, Maya, for joining me today. Seriously, I enjoyed this conversation, learning about your journey. I can't wait to see where you are like a couple of months or a year from now.
Same. Thank you. So it's a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.